Your Friday night sports show heading the way of Riverina and Farrer football competitions. And let's go firstly to the Riverina. And on the premiership table at the moment, it's the MCUE Goannas leading the way in this competition. They're at 4-0 and they've had a great start to the season, the Goannas. The GGGM Lions are 4-1, so they are also looking the goods. And then Coolum Rovers, great at 4-1. Then comes Wagga Tigers, Colin Gully and Turvey Park. And then after that, Griffith Swans, Narrandera Eagles and Leeton Witten Crows. I think the interesting part of this is the near Wagga countrysides, that is the Goannas, the Lions and the Rovers, are all nearby Wagga, but all playing great football at the moment, the top three sides. I guess the Wagga Tigers, the Colin Gully GP Demons and Turvey Park are in that, if you like, Wagga-type teams. They're in the next three positions. Then the irrigation sides further out to the west in Griffith, Narrandera and Leeton are all the bottom three sides. Just an interesting observation at this time of the year. Looking at last week's games of football in Riverina, and it was a low scorer, but Colin Gully got home against Turvey Park 3-9-27 to 3-7-25, if you don't mind. That was a tough outing and tough football for both sides, and just to getting home by 2 points, Colin Gully in the match. They had some good players too on the day. It was just a couple of goals to Perryman, and he was one of the best, along with Klemke and Thompson Gardner, while it was Hagger and Harris, good players for the Bulldogs. Other matches, Leeton Witten Crows in the battle of the irrigation teams over Narrandera, 7-12-54 to 4-10-34. Narrandera not able to go back-to-back, but gee, they tried hard. They were certainly in the last quarter coming back into this game. Rainbird with 3 for Leeton, whilst it was Mackay 2 for Narrandera. Hutchison, Inglis and Dernan for Narrandera Eagles were the better players. Stryberg and Boots played well off the boot for Leeton Witten Crows. Other matches, the MCUE Goannas, they kicked 14-7-91 to beat the GGGM Lions in the match of the round, 6-6-42. The difference between the sides here, I think, was quite stark, and you look at the score sheet, the Goannas 6 in the first quarter to none. The Lions were not awake at all. Half-time, a fight back of sorts, but it was all tied up, just 2 points apiece in the second quarter. When I say all tied up, just 2 points apiece was the scoreline, and 6-5 to 2 points the half-time score. It was 6-1 in the third quarter. The Goannas had absolutely routed them at this stage, and then a good fight back in the last quarter from the Lions to get some respectability. It was Olsen, Lander and Sace, the better players for GGGM, whilst Castles, the difference between the sides, he was unstoppable and probably is at the moment the difference between the Goannas and their performances and whether or not they can maintain this top of the table. I reckon Castles is going to have a massive amount to do with that. He booted 9, best player on the ground. Schiller booted 3. Price also played well for the Goannas. Other match was the final one. Wagga Tigers went down to the Coolum Rovers. A thrilling win by the Rovers. 7-6-48 for the Grasshoppers over the top of the Tigers. 6-5-41. The Rovers well served in this match by Redfern with 2. Maslin, Macaulay and Buchanan played well. Myers with 2 and Flanagan the better player on Tigers. Tigers no longer the threat that they were. Maybe they'll be a later season threat, but certainly struggling at the moment, as we called it earlier, in their premiership table position. This week's matches in Riverina, it's Coolum taking on the Swans, and you reckon at Kindra Park at Coolum the Grasshoppers would be way too good. Turvey Park get Leeton Witten Crows. The way the Crows season's gone, I'm going to go for the Bulldogs to win at Mar Oval. It's Narrandera Eagles taking on the MCUE Goannas. It's Mangalapar will be way too good, even though it's a bit of a road trip out to Narrandera for them. And the Sunday match at Ganmain, and it's the GGGM Lions taking on the Wagga Tigers. And if you don't mind Lions and Tigers, this is going to be an absolute ripping game of football. It's going to go right down to the wire. I reckon the Lions can get home on their home deck and make the season for the Tigers. It could just put a little bit of pressure on them in terms of finals football. That's something we haven't seen in Riverina football too often. Let's now go to Farrer football. In last week's matches, the Marra Bombers 14-3-87, too good for the East Wagga Coringal Hawks 8-8-56. In other matches, the Northern Jets 11-7-73 kept their finals chances going by beating the North Wagga Saints 5-13-43. Gee, that was a good win by the Jets. Equal scoring shots, but a 30-point margin in the end. And Barellan Blues got the first win for them for the season, 14-12-96 to beat Temora for 11-35, while it was the Rock Yarron Creek 11-10-76 beating Charles Sturt University in the match where they were able to get them at 7-11-53, a good 23-point margin or 23-point margin by the Rock Yarron Creek. Kerrin, the difference between the sides with 4 goals. Williams and Russell both booted 2. Budd, Hancock and Cool were the better players for the Magpies, while CSU had Dickens with 3 and Finlay was their better player. This week's games of football to be played in this competition, and it is round 7 football action, and it's got some interesting ones that it throws up. The Northern Jets and Temora. Gee, these are old rivals, but unfortunately Temora are not going really well at the moment. And at Rye Park, I'm going to go with the home side, the Jets, comfortably. Barellan get the confidence of a win, and at home they'll try and play well at their home deck, the 2 Blues. But I think East Wagga Karingal, they'll be come out there and win the match. I know that too there has been a terrible accident in the reserve grade for one of their players from last week, and there is a GoFundMe Facebook type situation to raise funds there at East Wagga Karingal for that terrible situation. So look, I think even with that, though, the Hawks will be able to get the win at Barellan. The Mara Bombers play Colony Amberley, the Blues, and I reckon that this will be a good match for the Mara boys. They'll win easily at Langtree. Colony Amberley will fight hard, but I don't think you've got the cattle to beat Mara. And CSU get North Wagga. I reckon in this game we'll see a very, very evenly matched a couple of sides, both of them just across from each other in terms of their venues. And at the Peter Hasty Oval, I'm going to tip North Wagga, actually, the visitors, to win this game. And the Rock Yarron Creek have the bye. That is a look at Riverina and Farah football.